Hi, I'm Madison Jordan, and my Persuasive video assignment is about aging out of foster care. According to an article written by Amin, in 2016 there were 112,000 children in foster care, and only 4% of those children were in pre-adoptive homes. Most children who enter as teens or are not adopted before the age of 12 years old will end up aging out of foster care when they become adults. When a child ages out of foster care, they face new challenges that they were not prepared for. When youth are in foster care, there are several supports that are put into place for the well-being of the youth, though children who have been in foster care do not have the same supports that their peers have. While many peers their age still rely on family members for a few years, after turning 18 years old, young adults in foster care are forced to be on their own after aging out of the system. While there are sometimes programs set in place to prepare these young adults for what will come after exiting foster care, most of the time young adults do not know what to expect and are not prepared. When these young adults age or sign out of foster care, all of those former supports are stopped immediately, and it is not a slow transition out of care. There are some policies that have been put into place over the years to help young adults as they transition out of foster care, the first being the Foster Care Independence Act of 1999. This was put into place as in these years there was a rise in young adults who were aging out of foster care, and the risks of outcomes from those aging out of foster care without resources were starting to be noticed. The next policy that has made a huge difference came years after, and this is the Fostering Connection to Success and Increasing Adoptions Act of 2008. This led to the option of extending foster care from age 18 years old to age 21 years old. This was noticed as a large part of the population of young adults continued living with their families after the age of 18 years old due to economic needs. Young adults who have been in the foster care system often have come from passive trauma and abuse. They have switched homes, communities, schools, often more than once as they go from placement to placement. One huge statistical point and scenario that Alman describes is that 50% of young adults aging out of foster care do not have a high school diploma. This leads to difficulty obtaining and holding steady employment. This often leads to young adults getting involved with selling drugs and sex for money. Not being able to hold employment leads to challenges with affording basic needs and can often result in homelessness or involvement with the criminal justice system. Another thing that affects young adults who have been through the foster care system is higher education. Higher education is not always seen as important or encouraged by adults for students who are in foster care. Katz and Geiger discuss that 28.8% of the U.S. population receive a four-year degree, and a four-year degree is linked to lower unemployment rates, higher incomes, and better chance of having health insurance, though only 3 to 5% of individuals who have been in foster care receive a four-year degree. This is a huge disparity and can affect the lives of those who have been in foster care in the past for the rest of their lives. Perspective A is the first viewpoint, and that is that young adults who are aging out of foster care have a huge disadvantage compared to those who have never been in foster care. New policies and programs should be created to assist young adults as they age out of the foster care system. Collins and his colleagues did a study in 2018 that gathered experiences with the healthcare system from young adults who have recently aged out of the foster care system. These experiences showed that young adults who have recently aged out of foster care face challenges with how to get health insurance, when to seek medical needs due to not having family support, not knowing their medical history, and not wanting to share information that is difficult to discuss. They found that there is evidence from previous literature that suggests that health issues such as early pregnancy, not using contraceptives, illegal drug use, chronic and mental illnesses are higher for young adults who have been in the foster care system compared to their peers who have not. Katz and Geiger discuss that there is a disproportionate amount of young adults in foster care who get a 4-year college degree than the general population. Through their study, they found that this is largely due to young adults who recently aged out of foster care not having enough supports in their life. They found that a program that would help students through applying for aid, staying on track, and having post-secondary resources available would be beneficial for young adults even after they have aged out of the system. This would mean that there are programs and services that would be beneficial and help young adults who are in foster care and are transitioning into adulthood. Perspective B is the perspective that believes that there are enough opportunities and resources set up for young adults who are aging out of foster care. There is not a problem with the current system, and everything is being done to assist with a smoother transition out of foster care. Studies have shown that only 22% of age 18 and older youth take advantage of programs that have been put into place for them to stay within foster care. Youth are not taking advantage of the resources and programs that have been put into place to help them stay and transition out of foster care. There is not more need for more programs when the ones that have been put into place are not being used and being made successful. There are ways that the foster care system could be improved, but this would be done through funding changes for those who are currently in foster care, and not putting more funding into programs that help young adults transition out of foster care. This perspective is described by Kelly and Samel through their 2019 study, where they describe that the best resource is for youth to have a steady adult figure in their life. Narendorf and colleagues did a study in 2019 to find the best ways to have a successful mentoring program, and it would be most beneficial to start these sorts of mentoring systems before, when the youth are still in foster care, rather than waiting until after they are transitioning out of foster care. Both perspectives have data that can back them up, and they each come from a place that is seen to be beneficial for the foster care system. These are the references that were used for this presentation.